Yeah,
Have a great.
phasing is an interesting thing that messes with a lot of people for
Yeah,
sure.
I had it wasn't even phasing, but it's Teferi's protection. I hate
Uh-huh.
that card. Terrible card.
Oh,
Um,
I love it because in all of my decks that rely on combat damage, I make sure to run effects that say damage can't be prevented. So if my opponent has Teferi's protection, I can still kill them with commander damage or infect.
Yep.
this was I was running a curse deck, so I had about 6 auras on him,
Uh-huh.
and then somebody else swung at him, and he was like, "Oh, I T-Pro out," and I was like, "All right, whatever." And he's like, "Well, actually, all the auras fall off too." I was like, "Okay."
Sorry,
Good, huh?
what happened? Sorry, say it
All
again.
the so because I guess the ruling that I know is when you gain protection from everything, all the auras that are attached to you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, sorry, I thought we were still talking about phasing. I looked away
No,
for a
no,
second.
no. Yeah, I said it wasn't the phasing; it was the protection
Yeah.
from everything.
So if it gains protection from a quality of something that is attached to it, whether it's like an equipment or an ore or whatever, those fall off. Yes, that's
Yep,
correct.
yep, yep.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
really
yeah.
annoying. I hate that card.
So if you ever not sure, so protection, to remember what it does, we use this
No, it's debt.
Yeah, it is. Right. So it protects from damage from the protected source, right? So anything that would be damaging, if it's of that kind of source, it gets prevented, right? It prevents being enchanted or equipped, and it doesn't just mean being targeted by an aura or targeted with an equip ability. It means it cannot be enchanted or equipped by that protected source. So if you have a pacifism on my creature it's a white aura that says the creature can't attack or block, and then I give that creature protection from white or protection from enchantments or protection from everything, that aura falls off immediately because the game says, oh, you can't be enchanted by that thing anymore.
Okay.
Not just can't be targeted by, you can't be enchanted by it at all. Creatures with protection can't be blocked by other creatures with a protected source, though they can block creatures with a protected source. And then the last one is damage, right? They can't be. Oh no, we just said damage. Sorry, last one is target.
Targeted.
Yeah. I was looking at the word damage when I said this. I'm like, yeah, can't be targeted, which is yeah.
It's an interesting.
That's kind of wild.
Yep. But that's why protection is better than like shroud or hexproof or stuff as far as enchanting goes. Because if you're let's say you have a creature with protection from all colors, and I have an aura that I want to put on it, I can't put that aura on that creature unless it's colorless. But I'm saying if it's a colored aura, I can't put it on that creature in any way, shape, or form, right? Now, if you have a creature with shroud or hexproof or ward, that will affect my ability to target that creature while I'm casting an aura. Right? I can't target it because it has shroud or hexproof, or I have to pay the ward cost and I don't have the resource or something like that, right? But if I'm just putting that aura into play some other way that just puts it directly onto the battlefield, it's not casting it, it's just putting it onto the battlefield, I can put it on your creature with shroud or hexproof with no problem. Because I'm not targeting it. I'm just having it enter the battlefield attached to that thing. The only part of auras that target is when you're casting the aura.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite things. So like I have a mono green deck that's easily one of, if not my strongest casual deck, right? Like it's gross. It does a lot of things that you wouldn't expect mono green to do, including in mono green, I can clone anything on the battlefield, and if I sequence it correctly, the only thing that can stop me is protection. And so the way it works is I have a mono green deck built around the partners Galanra and Kadama. So Galanra is a mono green partner legendary creature that has a mana ability. You tap it for green mana, and if you spend that mana on a spell that costs 6 or more mana value, you draw a card. Right. And then Kadama, so Kalanra wants to fill my hand. Kadama wants to empty it because it says whenever I have a permanent enter the battlefield and it didn't enter because of Kadama, if I entered any other way, Kadama triggers so I can put another permanent from my hand with equal or lesser mana value directly onto the battlefield. So like floor level, I could play a land, I get a land for my hand on the battlefield, right? Or, you know, I play this 4-cost creature, I can get a 4 or less cost permanent from my hand on the battlefield directly, right? So what I do with it is I'll play like a 3 or 4 cost creature that you wouldn't interact with, you wouldn't stop it. You know, I'm gonna play a Wood Elves, right? Wood Elves enters the battlefield and goes get me a forest. You're like, I'm not gonna counter that, I'm not gonna stop that, sure. And so I do it, and then I go, all right, cool, Kadama trigger on the stack. I get to take something from my hand with mana value 3 or less and put it on the battlefield. Any responses? Because I don't have to tell you what I'm putting on the battlefield until it's resolving, right? I'm not targeting something in my hand. I'm just making a choice as it resolves. And you're like, and most players are like, no, I'm gonna hold my responses. I'm gonna wait and see what comes out before I respond, because I want to see what my response is gonna be. I'm like, yeah, sure, I understand. So what comes out is the aura called Song of the Dryads, which enchants a permanent and turns it into a forest. And that's it. It is now just a forest with no other abilities except for the ability to tap for green mana, and it loses all of its other card types and all of its other, all the stuff. It's just a forest, right? And I don't care if the thing I put it on has Shroud, Hexproof, or Ward, because I'm just putting it directly on the battlefield, getting around any target effects. It's just entering attached to the thing, right? And then the thing is, I still have priority because there wasn't any triggers from that entering the battlefield. So now, let's say I put that on your commander, right? I've shut off your commander. It has no abilities and it's a forest. I ramped you. I helped you, right? That's what I did. And so then I'm gonna play my land for turn, and I'm gonna play Vesuva, which is a land that can enter the battlefield tapped as a copy of any other land on the battlefield. Well, guess what your commander is right now? It's a land.
Land. Yep.
So I'm going to have my Vesuva enter as a copy of your commander, except for the effects that are making your commander a land are not part of the copyable characteristics. So I just get a straight up copy of your commander.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, and then when that enters the battlefield, because it has the mana value of your commander, I have a Kadama trigger to put something from my hand on the battlefield with equal or lesser mana value.
And here, let me.
Yeah, what's going
on? I'm gonna put the commander in question in. Okay, this is gonna be the commander of the deck.
Volrath Shapestealer?
Yes.
Can you combat? Put a -1/1 counter creature till your next turn. Becomes a copy of target creature with a counter on it, except it's a 7/5. Okay, gotcha.
Okay. For argument's sake, let's say I drop him the turn. I have like a bunch of mana. Maybe he died or something. I don't know, but I have a bunch of mana, enough mana. We're going to assume that I have enough mana to do everything I'm talking about right now.
Okay.
Okay. We go to combat. I put a negative counter on somebody else's creature. For the rules question, right now we're going to assume it's not legendary. We can, we'll just use like a displacer kitten as an example for now.
Okay.
All right. What it is has nothing to do with the question. The question is, because he says till my next turn, if I use something like Phyrexian Metamorph or Phantasmal Image and I copy him,
gotcha,
while he's the copy of something else,
yeah,
how does this interaction work going past turns? Does he stay a copy
gotcha.
of the
so
7/5?
Okay. So the way this works is that now let's start with the foundation. I think you already know is that if you have something like, let's say I have a clone that enters as a copy of something, and I have something else enter as a copy of my clone, I don't get another clone. I get what the clone is copying, right? Like it's you're getting the copyable characteristics that it picked up in layer 1 of what it was copying. So what happens here is the exact same thing. The new copy effect doesn't care about the duration that the other thing is going to be a copy.
Okay.
Right? So that's the thing. So like if you had Volrath become a copy of somebody's grizzly bear or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And until your next turn, and then you play a clone that enters as a copy of whatever Volrath is copying, the new clone doesn't share the duration. Right? It doesn't care that Volrath was temporarily a copy of that thing. It just sees, oh, you're a copy of that thing. I'm going to be a copy of that thing. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. That was my, because I didn't want like me to have a 0/0 Phyrexian Metamorph at the beginning of my next turn.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
So this deck will work the way I built it. Okay, can you mutate onto a creature that has Shroud?
No, because you have to target it as part of casting the spell.
Okay. So like protection from a color will do the same thing. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't been doing it because I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But now, since I have you here to answer
now
the question.
now if you have a creature that you've mutated onto, let's say you have a mono blue creature and you mutate onto it with a mono green mutate, and then you give it protection from green, it doesn't make the green aspect of it fall off, right? It doesn't work the same way as like an aura and equipment in that sense, right? But as far as targeting, yeah, that does stop targeting. Yes.
Okay, so if I want to like protect my stuff and I want to mutate for a turn or two, I could actually do like sudden spoilings on myself
to make it lose the protection. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then at end of turn, it'll gain all the protection again, and nothing will fall off. Awesome. So another deck's going to be changed.
Now keep in mind. Now here's the wild thing. It'll allow you to mutate, but you will not get the mutate triggers the way you just described. Because what happens is this, okay?
It loses all abilities till end of turn, or
yeah. Well, and here's the thing: if you have something, are you familiar with how layers work?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Well, to a point.
Sure. I'm not going to go into like all the details of the layers, but I'll just gloss over the stuff that matters here. Okay. So layer 6 is the abilities layer, right? Mm-hmm. And so what happens is, sudden spoiling says that all of the creatures controlled by target player lose all abilities, right? So they've lost all their abilities. So now what happens is anything that creature had prior to that resolving is lost as far as abilities go. If it had flying, if it had trample, if it had a keyword, if it had a trigger, whatever, right? Now, if let's say I put an equipment on that creature and it says the equipped creature gains flying, right? So that's making a change in layer 6. Okay, so now we use timestamps, and whichever one is the most recent one is the one that takes precedence. So it lost all of its abilities, but then it gained flying. So that's fine, right? Okay. Here's the thing. Mutate is not making any changes in layer 6. Mutate is making changes in layer 1, which is the copyable characteristics. Okay. Which means it is giving the creature all of the abilities that it has here in layer 1. So what happens is you sudden spoiling and make everything lose abilities, and then now it's lost protection, so you can mutate on top of it. It's lost Shroud, it's lost protection, whatever was stopping you from mutating it, right? So you go to mutate it onto it, but the moment it touches, the moment it becomes a part of that, right? The game checks the characteristics of it and go to see if it would trigger, to see if it would do anything, right? Because for the same reason that if I have a dress down that says all creatures lose abilities, ETB triggers don't get to happen that turn, you know? Yeah. So what happens is it doesn't gain new abilities in layer 6. It gains all those abilities here in layer 1. Then the game goes, all right, it's mutated, it's gained a bunch of stuff, check. Oh, but it lost all those abilities.
Okay.
Fun.
I had a game a few days ago where we were playing like a casual game, but some guys were just missing some triggers, and I mean, I don't have like a vast knowledge about the game, but I know some things, and you helped me with some ruling things, and we were trying to tell a guy that it was the shell of the spider that gives the the other spider's ward too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the guy just tried to. I'm just trying to recall what happened. So one of the player A, there was a 1v1 situation.
Okay.
One of the player tried to path to exile his Spider-Man, which was enchanted by something that removes his abilities. And the player B cast the new card from Avatar, the deflecting something, the one that you can pay life into. It's kind of like a deflecting sword that you can change
Oh
the
yeah,
target.
yeah.
And he changed the target to Shelob.
Oh, okay.
And the player A was arguing that he has to pay the ward cost.
Yeah, who pays the ward cost? I've hit
Yeah.
this question as well.
So ward is a trigger that cares about who controls the spell that's targeting. So if I have a creature with ward, and and my creature gets targeted by a spell my opponent controls, right? So, or spell or ability. So you try to path my creature, you have to pay the ward, right? Now here's the thing though. If I try to path your creature and you redirect it with a deflecting swat or any of these other versions of that, right? You redirect it to my creature, ward won't trigger because I still control the targeting spell. You never targeted my creature, you just changed the target of my spell. So the ward doesn't trigger because I'm still controlling the targeting spell.
Freaking way.
Yep.
Yeah.
It also works with
I-
hexproof too.
I'm so glad I hopped in this lobby.
I found that exact answer on Reddit, and I tried to explain the guy that the only war trigger would happen if the player B casted a spell that gains control of target spell, and
Right. That
you
would
can gain
that would
control,
happen.
that would
Right.
trigger because he would be the controller. And the guy just got so mad, he just said we were mating up rules, and he just left the game.
Fun.
So now I thought I was clear, and now I'm getting fuzzy. So if I combat them if I path it on the end of the main phase, they get a chance to play more creatures, for instance?
Right, because they're still in the main phase. Right.
But
Okay,
after,
so
but
they're
on-
still in their priority in the main phase.
Yeah, they will
Well,
regain priority without passing to the next step or phase
Okay.
because somebody interrupted that process.
but it
Okay,
only
so
works when the cycle.
am I getting that the distinction difference is like between if somebody says, okay, I'm gonna go to my end step and then I want to do something, they're still in their second main phase, so they can still cast things, versus they want to go to their end step and then they pass to end step and then there's a round of priority and I say I want to do something.
Yeah. Now, most of the time when you'll need to make that distinction is, let's say that they don't have an end step trigger and they're just done casting spells and they say, I want to end my turn, right? You would need to say, great, in your end step, I want to take this action. Because they're proposing a shortcut. They're not skipping the end step. They're proposing a shortcut to just say, if nothing's happening in the end step, let's not waste the time of passing priority. Let's just end the turn, because they don't want to do anything. That doesn't skip the end step. That's just them proposing the shortcut.
Now I understand a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like steps and phases, unless a game mechanic causes that step or phase to be skipped, steps and phases are never skipped, right? So if they let's say that they don't have any creatures to attack with, or they just don't have a reason to attack, and they go I want to end my first main phase and go to end step or to do whatever, right? And you have a spell you want to cast but can only be cast during combat. Just because they don't want to declare attackers doesn't mean we skip combat.
Yeah, combat happens anyway.
Right.
I get you.
Right. Another thing, and this is kind of important that a lot of players don't catch. Let's say, for example, it's my turn, and I'm doing something, and I'm in combat, right? And I attack somebody with this massive 100 creature, right? And I'm trying to eliminate them, and they deflecting palm that creature. Right, so they take all the damage that would have been dealt by that creature and they deal it to me, and I die to my own creature's 100 damage, right? I, the player, during my own turn, have left the game because I have lost, right? The turn does not immediately go to the next player. It still continues through all the normal steps and phases, and players get priority. So let's say that you were the next player after me after I lost during my own turn, but you have instant speed things you want to do before it starts your turn, you can do that.